welcome to the Power Platform Show. Before we chat with today's guest, here's a quick message from our sponsors. Do you need career coaching? I've been working with business apps for over 18 years, and I've been coaching many people to fulfilling careers in the space. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please go to nz365guy.com/coaching, and maybe we can have a chat. With that, let's get on the show with our two amazing guests today. Today's guests are both from Sydney, New South Wales in Australia, the state that's currently locked down. Amey is the Director of Dynamics 365 Marketing at Amey Holden Pty Limited, and George is a Technical Director at Alexa CRM. Amey is a true believer in Sunday Fun Day and looks after Team Amey from time to time with jigsaw puzzles, hiking, kayaking, open water swimming, and going for brunch. George spent many years splitting the atom, blowing fortunes on the next Internet of Things and coding sites in Notepad, TM, and enjoying life. Check out Amey's blog at ameyholden.com, and you can find George on Twitter at GeorgeDude. Welcome to the show, Amey and George.
Thank you very much. I quite like that intro. I'll take it.
It works.
Glad to be here. I think my title changed recently, but okay.
It's no longer George Dude. What is it now? The Enabler?
No, the title to the company, yes.
Oh, okay. Technical Director at Alexa CRM. What is it now?
Yeah, it's like I take new title every couple of days.
Nice.
Give yourself a promotion.
Oh, it's a side motion.
Side motion. I like that.
Is that how you spice up your day in the job? Like, who shall I be today?
Who should I enable?
Me.
Nice. Tell us, before we get underway, just so our audience can be familiar with you two, even though, you know, you're pretty world famous already. Amey, tell me about food, family, and fun.
Food, family, fun. Food. I have a large obsession with Vegemite, thanks to Australia. They brought out the gluten-free version. First time I've ever had it, changed my life. That's all I eat, basically.
Did it taste any different?
I don't know, because I've never had the other one because I'm celiac.
Oh, you're celiac. Wow. I hate that.
I know. So it's maybe blissfully unaware. Maybe it's a good thing, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So Vegemite.
Favorite food is, so if I was on death row, last meal would be shakshuka, which is baked eggs. So it's basically like eggs and loads of tomato sauce. And some gluten. It's amazing. It's just next level stuff. And all I want to do right now is go out and eat it. Whenever I make it, it tastes rubbish.
Wow, you might like the Philippine balut.
As long as it's got eggs in it.
It's egg-based. You've got to try that out at some point.
I'll let you know when we can go out again.
Okay.
Fun. I like running in long distances for long periods of time and straight and various curvy lines. Really into that. Listen to podcasts, sometimes yours, you know, occasionally.
Nice.
And love jigsaw puzzles. Family, they all live in England. They're living their best lives now they're out of lockdown. I really quite like them. No, they are. Yeah, they're having the best time. They're on Freedom Day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like back to normal. Business as usual.
Wicked.
Sister, 2 nephews, mother, father, various other bits and bobs. I like them, but I also like Australia. It's awkward.
Nice. I know I'm going to ask a highly personal question here.
Do it.
But are you going for citizenship?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
why not?
Good move. It's a no-brainer. You should absolutely do it.
For sure.
I like
So
it.
now we know the answer. Who do you love more, your family or Australia?
It's not a choice of love. It's my mom's never going to listen to this, so yeah, maybe.
Exactly. That's it. Your parents are never going to listen to this. Mr. Doubinski, tell me about you. Tell me about your wonderful family. I've had the privilege of being in your home and met your family. And I know that you are definitely a lover of food. And but I'm going to let you tell that story.
Which one?
Well, the family, the food, and the fun.
The family all like down the hall next door. We see too much of each other, I suppose. My daughter moved out, so we can't see each other, but we do connect on FaceTime time to time, and it's a bit of family celebration tonight. So it's all nice and close. Some of my family is in US, so I haven't seen them for over 2 years.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a bit tough, but not as tough as most people have it. So I take it any day. We're a bit lucky in Australia, though we're in lockdown. So here's the fun fact for you. Me and Amey, we live now, what is about 10 minutes walk from each other?
Yeah,
we never
less than a kilometer, I think.
We never met in person.
Yeah, but often when she goes for a run, she tells me she flicks the bird at your house as she goes past.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I have on the camera, a runner who flips the bird. Couldn't make up. I'll install a better camera then.
I used to throw a toilet roll, but I can't find enough now, so I just stopped.
Yeah, they're a collector's item.
Food, I'll eat anything that moves or moved in the past life or didn't move in the past life. Whatever. Last trip we had was all about food, like Northern Africa and Spain and Portugal. Jesus, that trip ended about 2 years ago. So that was the last time we traveled as a family.
Yeah.
And my last trip was February last year. Yeah.
Wow.
So, you are a globetrotter yourself. So we know we used to have a competition who clocked more miles. And you used to come on top when it comes to, I think, number of countries. No, that was Dave. You come number of trips because you used to hop over the ditch between Australia.
No, I used to travel a lot in Australia. I used to go interstate twice a week, so 2 states a week.
Flights.
Yeah,
you won number of flights.
So Mark wins a prize for the biggest green. What's the opposite of a footprint?
Yeah,
Carbon footprint.
So like I'm how would you say? Is it recompense for my sins of eco-vandalism? Is yesterday, for example, planted 40 trees. I've planted now over 1,000 trees on my property, and I've got a lot to go to try and subsidize all my last 10 years of flying.
Yeah. You're a recovering eco-vandal. I like it.
Yeah, eco-vandal, exactly.
Question, can you get Wallamy pine in New Zealand?
No.
No, so they're protective.
Well, the thing is that there's a bunch of stuff you can eat in Australia, right? Which I don't know if they export it as a rule, but it's more, I mean, how many countries eat their national emblem?
All of them.
Do they? Yeah, we don't eat our kiwis.
What?
Kiwis are protected here.
Kiwis.
Yeah. I'm not talking about kiwi fruit. I'm talking about kiwi, the flightless bird.
Yeah. I know. But when your national animal, national animal, when you look at coat of arms, it's not a kangaroo, is it?
I thought it was a kangaroo.
I thought it was emu.
Emu as well. Yeah, emu is tasty.
Look, if kiwis bred at the same rate as kangaroos, you'd probably start eating them.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, valid.
If
pretty tasty too. Just
saying. It's pretty crazy though when you're driving along. Like I remember driving up the Hunter Valley, and a bunch of them go across the road, and you just have to stop, right? Because they are big creatures.
Yeah. I had the close encounter from Canberra to Sydney. Literally brushed the side of my car.
Wow.
In the jump. And when something moves at you with 100 kilometers an hour, try to catch an animal which is about your size moving at 100 kilometers an hour. Yeah.
And they're solid.
And they are solid. Anyway, food, not kangaroo. We have this game when you have to answer the question, if you have to eat the same food for the rest of your life every day, like 3 times a day, what would it be? My answer is always sushi, right? It's hands down. Yeah. Hands down.
Yeah, that would work. I reckon anything Japanese, like a donburi, that would be golden as well.
That fried. You can't eat fried 3 times a day, but sushi.
Yeah, valid. Well, I could eat bacon 3 times a day.
Yeah, if you roll it in the sushi rice, I would.
Bacon sushi.
I love it. I love it. Well, both of you have been on the show before, and we know how you got into this game and your history and things like that. What I'd like to talk to you today, I've watched a couple of videos recently on YouTube that I see both of you are doing a collaboration on. Can you tell me how it came about? And actually, what was the name? What do you tell me about the whole Citizen Kane connection? Citizen Can rather than Kane connection.
I would probably try and do this, but I don't understand. So, George, would you please do the honors?
Oh, fun fact. Amey doesn't watch movies.
Or TV.
Wow.
Or TV.
You're kidding me.
I don't own a TV.
I have to explain every single reference I put in our videos.
Do you watch any video or like just no movies and no TV?
Nothing.
So no porn?
No, not even that.
Wow.
Well, maybe on a special Sunday,
Fair enough. You said you have Amey time. I did see that there, Sunday Fun Day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. But anyhow, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah. Now you threw me off. Now,
So tell us about Citizen Kane.
The way it started, I mean, forget about the name for a second. The way it started, I think... we were chit-chatting. Where we were chit-chatting? In Slack or something like this.
A place that doesn't exist.
A place that doesn't exist. And
yes,
I volunteered to help Amey with some, was it marketing or was it filtering in?
No, so you're making it sound really nice and friendly, but what actually happened is I posted a stupid question and showed a screenshot of one of my flows. And I was using a multitude of get records, to which George responded along the lines of, why won't you use expand? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's expand? I don't know how to use it. Help. Who are you? To which he kindly he responded, yes, and the enabler responded. He was like, I will teach you. And I think it was mostly out of frustration and rage that I didn't understand. So I accepted the offer, and the rest is history.
Somehow people make it sound like I'm an asshole.
No. And little do they know, because you're one of the kindest men I've ever come across, and that's speaking from experience of your kindness. So that's definitely not the truth. But George, what's your side of the story?
Oh, now that we know how it all started, we planned kind of the meeting, the episode, and then a strange thing happened. Amey taught me a couple things throughout the lesson. I thought I was given a lesson, but in the end, I ended up receiving one. So, and Amey, she assigned herself this moniker, ABC, anything but code. And I'm kind of lately leaning towards the side that if you can do it without code, do it without code. If you can do it with code, do it with code, whatever. You know that a couple of years ago, I invented this methodology, which called UCS, or use common sense, whatever makes sense, right? So you use that. We also have UFCS, which is a stronger variety of use common sense.
Use your favorite common sense.
Oh,
nice. I like
you're
it.
too kind. That's not favorite, but
I know.
Anyway, so we ended up saying, what else can we talk about? And we outlined, I still have this outline, and it seems to be endless. We've got this outline of things to talk about, and it's got like 20 or 30 topics. And we say, hey, look, we can talk about this and this and that and this. Then I started looking for a name, and somehow the whole concept of citizen was right in circulation at that time, and pro code and no code, and I never participated in the whole debate. I think it's kind of degrading for both sides, you know, developers looking down and citizens saying, you know, peasants. It's like literally like from Harry Potter, like wizards and muggles, you know, you know, no code people look up and say, you know, F you developers, we can do it without you, and more power to us. And I'm saying, this is ridiculous, right? So we started this collaboration, and then the whole citizen, I'm into movies, and citizen Kane came up. And the reason it came up is really funny. It was one of the few movies that are out of the copyright. So you can copy it, you can, put clips out of it, and you are fine. Because, yeah, really. So you find no one's going to sue you if you put a clip of 5 minutes long from Citizen Kane. And then I ended up rewatching it. I watched it like years and years ago, and rewatching it, and boy, how timely it was. And it was at the height of, the whole Trump for re-election stuff. And it's just, you watch this movie and say, Jesus, how people create these movies that are really timeless. And then the story within the Citizen Kane of him and his kind of love affairs and getting involvement, and him kind of educate or trying to get this girl into singing, though she can't really sing, into opera. It all started to come together and say, why don't we call it Citizen Kane? And it's got some nice ring to it. And you see opening credits and closing credits. Those are scenes from the movies. I've got a few other scenes, but then I thought it just sounds nice. We kind of moved away from the whole concept of, this wizard Citizen Kane and this girl looking up to him. And we immediately moved out of that. But I thought Citizen Kane is a nice concept, right? And so throughout we started putting episodes. We now have recorded much more episodes than I have time to actually develop and process and render and put it out there, because we record each episode just as a conversation. And I don't know, Amey, how about you, but I find it a bit embarrassing when we both tried to build a Canvas app the other day, and we found ourselves just like, we can't show it to people. It's like, it's ridiculous.
I think it could be a series on its own, like 2 MVPs try to create a simple Canvas app, and we're literally just like, one second, I've got it. Here's the docs. So you click here. No. I don't know.
Jesus, what the expression should be.
Just going around in circles.
But then we somehow we stumbled across some, what it was, role editing, field security permissions, and we kind of forgot to activate the workflow. That was in the last one, and literally Dynamics 101. But it's all fun. So we're trying to get through some concepts that citizens or no-code people are less familiar with, and we're trying to show that there is nothing scary about those concepts. You just have to put a slightly different shape of hat on and learn those, and then you will not need developers even more than you don't need them today, right? If it makes sense. But in return, I'm getting some knowledge, apart from little things I kind of missed here and there, about no-code development. I'm learning how to explain things to people who are not developers, how to formulate the problem that is citizen-friendly, in a citizen-friendly way, how to explain things like that it's become clear to both parties what you actually both want. Because sometimes the wall is there, right there. As a developer, you have a different mindset from a business person or from a no-code person, and you try to solve problem. You try to you've got a nail, and then you try to use a screwdriver because it's, from your point of view, it's instrument of a higher finesse than a hammer, right? While all you need is a hammer. So these kind of mutual conversation, I think, is beneficiary for both of us.
I think it's been quite fun trying to, how did I say it? Like, get stuff out of George's brain, because he obviously knows heaps, but then sometimes doesn't it's all stuck in there. And I'm like, I want to know just this bit. Like, take away all the other stuff, and then I quite enjoy trying to translate it into something I understand. So kind of taking it out, putting it into something that people who are less developer-y. I wouldn't say whether I fit in citizen camp or developer camp. I'm somewhere floating in the middle and just kind of pulling it to a level that's like a bit more, I'm going to say human, but you're a delightful superhuman.
It's
interesting. So let me just summarize what I understood you say. Basically, the two of you virtually get together for a show. Amey asks a question, how do I do X, Y, Z? And I won't write code. And George, you take that as a challenge then to create the outcome in a no-code way and explain, why you chose that way. Is that it in a nutshell?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think so.
Look, sometimes there is no way not to write what if not code, it would be a complex expression. Right. So sometimes we talk a lot about Power Automate. So sometimes we talk about expressions, and we do need to dive in and kind of try to figure out what the expression is. And it's funny how we both know how to get the result, but we get them in a different way. I think it's a very good illustration of the difference between approach. Let's say you've got a collection of things. When you do in Power Automate, you do a list. Give me a list of things, right? So, particularly from Dataverse, you get a list of records or something like this. But all you want is the first one. Right, and I immediately write expression saying, here's my collection, and then square bracket 0 square bracket. I'm saying that's element number 0.
Yep.
And Amey says, what the hell is this? What is this?
What are you doing?
What is this? I'm saying, how would you do it, citizen? And Amey says, just a normal human being says, first bracket and then collection bracket.
Yeah.
Give me the first. I'm saying, that would work as well. It's the same stuff. It's just, and I'm like, really? Oh, first would work as well. Yeah. It's the same stuff, literally. We end up with the same result, but just the way of thinking, I'm thinking like a developer. I give me an array, and he's the iterator, and he's the array number element of the array number 0, and Amey just give me the first one. So who is the smart now?
So How do you manage each episode? Do you have any kind of operating parameters for creating the episode?
You've got all scheduled, and you've got the assistant, virtual or not, and planning the episode. I've got like 73 reminders that there is interview with NZ365 guy, and I want to say we've got 7 assistants and all planned. But it's more like...
Amey has a problem. She complains. We add it to a list somewhere. We lose the link for the list at some point. We find it again. We start a new list.
Nice.
We communicate on 5 different platforms and forget where I was complaining recently. We try to use Teams. We hate Teams and end up using Zoom. And I feel like a dirty traitor, but actually it works a lot better. And then we talk far too much. Then George goes away, trims it all down into magic stuff, adds loads of excellent YouTube references, of which I understand about 20%. And it all comes out the other side shiny and new. Don't know what he does.
George, just a few technical things. George, what are you using to do your edits with?
At the moment, I'm using Camtasia, but hitting a bit of, I wouldn't say limitations, but I feel like Camtasia is, imagine if you have to paint a picture and you've got a wonderful tool that can draw squares and rectangles, right? So if you are skilled artist, you can draw whatever you want. I mean, people draw with the dots. You can draw with the square and rectangles. But I'm not skilled artist, so I feel that square and rectangles are limiting me. So I want a brush and things like that. So at the end of financial year, which was last month, I gave myself a present and bought Mac, which I didn't have a chance to unpack it yet. But the moment I do, I'm going to give shot to, Final Pro and some other tools just to see what degree of freedom it gives me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Camtasia is great for screen recordings, but we're trying to have a bit more fun than just plain screen recording and walkthrough. We're trying to have a discussion. So I feel like it's a good tool, but it somewhat limits me to a certain degree. But I don't know. I feel that I know Camtasia, or beginning to know Camtasia quite well, and limitation is all in my head. But I like squirrels. Squirrel.
You've completely lost me. Why are we talking about squirrels now?
Squirrel is a metaphor for somebody that quickly gets distracted by something.
Okay.
And then there's something, and then you're down another one. You're gone down a rabbit hole.
Imagine a dog, a puppy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
let outside. And then you see and the puppy sees a squirrel.
Yeah.
George never goes down rabbit holes. I don't know what you're on about.
Editing is taking way too much time.
Yeah,
I think I can I can improve on that. I even got myself a Stream Deck, and it still says "Welcome" on the button in the middle. So. Could be better planned, could be better edited, but I think one of the strengths is a conversation we're trying to have. And I'm thinking of doing less editing and letting it all nearly raw out there to have kind of more human conversation, because I end up trimming a lot. And I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do, to trim a human conversation. But it all depends if people start listening more or watching it more. All depends on the feedback. So.
Yeah. You should check out LumaFusion for the iPad. I've been using it for 2-3 years now. Just allows you to edit so quickly, and it's only uses an iPad. But it interfaces back into that product you just purchased, so you can do more advanced things if you need to there.
Fusion, okay.
That aside, it's
another squirrel.
iPad app. No, very handy, very handy. Just when you said what you want to do without going over the top, that's what I found, because I went the whole Adobe Premiere route, and that just became
that sounds
too much of a too heavy. Too heavy for what I wanted to do. I wanted to get things out quickly. Look, how do you decide what to cover? Like, is it purely because Amy's saying, I want this because this is what's, my problem right now, and so therefore it jumps your list order? Or how do you have any kind of how you're filtering down? Because I want to jump in and then ask around the audience that's watching the show.
Yeah. So I think how it started was with Expand on Power Automate, which I learned is absolutely amazing and changed my life. Not being dramatic. But then we thought, because then once you start talking about Expand, for example, we find during one issue, we'll find other things that are related that are good to explore. So I'm pretty sure we spent, I think it was maybe 6 or 7 episodes just talking about the list records connector tile trigger for Dataverse.
We still have filters to cover. We recorded it, but I haven't edited. We got distracted by environment variables.
So I'm quite keen to always find out, like, rather than the how, I like to know the why. And because George has that like deeper knowledge. Yeah. And then between us, we can kind of get to a middle ground where I'm also understanding, first of all, how, but also like why and how does it all work. So kind of when I come to it, rather than going and copying and pasting a lump of code from somewhere, I know the story and the meaning and I can recall it better. So more learning rather than just doing.
Sometimes
so
it's
quite
spontaneous.
nice to go down those rabbit holes.
Sometimes it's really spontaneous because we were both triggered by someone taking a swipe at Level Up.
Yes.
And so we recorded Level Up. For those who don't know, it's a browser plugin that
Chrome,
enables all sort of things when you're working with Dataverse or with Power Apps, model-driven Power Apps. So, and someone complained that God mode in level up is ruining their lives because employees go on all the sort of rampage enabling God mode and ruining, nice UI or UX they created for the users or they thought they created for the users, right? So we took offense to that and we spent time recording, which ended up being 2-part episode, and part 2 is out now.
Nice.
So we recorded a 2-part episode where we talk about, we ended up talking about 8 different ways of breaking, getting the same stuff what God mode gives you, and 4 ways to actually fix it.
Right.
So and Amey, I know, loves the tool. And I use it every day as well. So we ended up kind of going on rampage about that and ranting about how could you call yourself a manager if you don't realize that God mode is nothing but goodness.
Yeah.
And then we ended up suggestion to Natresh, who created the tool, that goddess mode needs to be there as well.
That's true.
I love it. Goddess mode.
I would very much appreciate that.
It's a setting.
That would be awesome.
It's a setting.
What feedback, and I know this is a hard one because often you produce content, you create content, and you literally hear only crickets. As in you don't get feedback. No, as in for whatever reason, people don't necessarily engage. There's a few that do, and then what you seem to find is that the few that do engage often. But what are you finding when it and often, like, because it's a YouTube series that you're producing, it's not necessarily going to be comments on YouTube. Are you getting feedback though from whether it be verbal, whether it be people saying, hey, I love that, Twitter, whatever? Are you getting feedback from the audience, and what's your engagement level with your audience?
So we've not massively offended anyone to the point where they've cried yet. So I think that's always good.
I've not had anyone cry.
No, I just mean in general. No, I'm not saying you have. God, no.
I was like, I'm going to make you cry, Amey.
No. As in, I mean, because sometimes when a little bit funny and some people might be offended to the fact that no one's screaming at us and saying this is horrible. That's always a good start, I think, with content. I aim for that. In general, it's all been really positive. I think George is really creative with the editing and the things that he adds in, rather than it just being someone just talking about Power Apps and Flow, because videos can be pretty dry, especially as someone who doesn't.
That's what I was going to say. Honestly, I would love to see engagement perhaps on Twitter, but keep in mind that the way I see it is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's half entertainment, half education. Edutainment? I don't know.
Edutainment, nice.
So it's, I don't expect
infotainment is what we used to call it back in the training days, is that you had to train people, but it had to be entertaining. So we would call it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to turn it into, a stand-up routine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of middle ground. I don't expect huge engagement on YouTube and people talking about specific technical stuff, because we don't talk in depth about technical stuff. We pick up a subject and kind of, beating it to death, right? A very simple subject, and we just discover the differences and how to talk about things. I think we learn as we go. So, and it's more of a fun conversation about the platform, and I think to a certain extent, I would like to see these conversations taking place in community between developers and non-developers, as opposed to not contradictory but confrontational statements like less code, more power. I never liked this statement. I did mention it before. I never liked it because it creates a division. It creates a line between the two and saying we don't need you guys, even if they didn't plan it that way. It comes across that way. Right. Is
there now, where Microsoft is zeroing in on Fusion development? Is that really the everybody coming together for the greater good?
I don't know. You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I think everyone's you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yeah.
And people specialize in stuff. Like, that's like basic economics. People specialize in stuff and get good, and it makes things go faster.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be specialized in something, but you've got to work together. However you want to phrase that with the latest fusion dev coining term, like, it's just that, like, if you want to go, like, you can't do it on your own. You've got to work together. Call it what you want.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. So one of my two listeners are probably going to wonder where they find this YouTube channel, and we're going to put that in the show notes. So what's the best way to find it?
Well, how it's all started, it started through education. So, and as you know, and now your both listeners know it as well, I'm taking part in the great initiative 365.training, where we provide training for Power Platform, for all things related to Power Platform. And it started as part of 365.training YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/365training, that's where you find Citizen Can. It's just one of the tags and playlists. That's what it's called.
Got our very own playlist.
Okay, it's a playlist on 365 training. So if I go to YouTube, drop in 365 training, that'll take me to the YouTube channel.
And there you'll find a playlist called Citizen Can. So we don't maintain our channel, so we keep it low profile. But it's all related to education, so I think it's quite relevant in this context.
I like it. Well, before we go, is there any final words before we wrap things up?
I've got a question, though, before we wrap it up.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, it is allowed.
A question for Amey?
On YouTube
Yes.
channels, and you've done some videos, Mark. There's always someone who votes the video down. One.
Yeah, totally right.
Just always one. I was listening to opening keynote for NDC conference. Scott Hanselman was presented, and know he's absolutely awesome presenter.
He's a rock star.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was a live stream, and it was like, I don't remember, like 80 ups, and there was one down. And I'm like, who would vote that down? You consuming free content, you soggy donut. Appreciate it. So I don't know. That was my question. But, would be interested to hear topics, suggestions for topics. Ping us on Twitter, either me or Amey. Amey Holden, right? So it's Amey Holden.
Oh, you're so good. Well done.
And George Dude. Just ping us on Twitter, suggest some topics, hashtag Citizen Can. And off you go. Hashtag forever.
I love it.
For life.
Hashtag
for life.
Oh, classic. It's interesting what you're saying about, people voting things down. I recently had, who was it? I had on the Power 365 show. So I had April Dunham on, and she posted this person that had a rant at one of her videos because she's doing a lot on TikTok these days, and so you're very time limited, right? And so you're delivering something around
3 minutes.
The Power Platform on TikTok.
You still are. And I love her videos.
And so she does lots of cuts, right? As you would, right? You jump to the point. You can't take 5 minutes to show where you go in the navigation. And then, some moron goes, "Oh, you jump around too much." Like, I'm like, do you understand how much work she had to do that to make it consumable by people? And your only, thing that you could waste your time commenting on is telling her that it's wrong. Like, crazy.
Yeah, I hate those. By the way, jump in and kind of cut through videos. That's the TikTok way, right? So that's what differentiates them from any other videos. I actually learned few things about Excel on TikTok, believe it or not. I didn't know before, and I'm like, whoa, how come I didn't know that? So I'm thinking maybe TikTok, or maybe we should cut. YouTube now came up with the YouTube Shorts. Maybe give that a go and to see how far we can take it as far as development is concerned. So that's quite interesting.
I
thought TikTok was just for like teenagers, like making videos and silly dances.
That's not the case. That's not the case.
I literally had had no idea that there was power platform and useful stuff on there. I'm like, my mind is blown right now.
No, it's a quickest way to get to OnlyFans pages as well.
You have to teach TikTok what you like.
Did you just say OnlyFans pages, Mark?
What?
Okay. I always like to finish in some wrap up questions before we get distracted. Okay, so I've got 3 questions. Who's taking the first one? Because whoever takes the first one also has to take the third one.
Ladies first.
Okay, who would you like to play in a movie?
Well, that's really awkward since I don't watch films.
I know.
Can I be Dory in Finding Nemo? Just because it's one of the only films I've seen.
You can be a bluefish. That's fine.
Thank you.
You're not supposed to say
George,
thank you.
what's your
Dory? You're supposed
Just keep swimming,
you're supposed to forget what you asked.
Just
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. George,
Can I
what's
be
your
Dory?
favorite quote?
My favorite quote.
Deep.
That's deep, dude.
Make it. Do it.
I can give Amy her other question while you think of yours if
Yeah,
you want.
let me think.
Okay, here's Amy's other question. Which famous person have you met?
Oh,
Who?
okay. It might not make sense to people outside of the UK, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Actually, no. I think everyone should know. So I met Alan Shearer.
Oh, nice.
Who was a very famous
What do
football
you mean
player.
was? He still is.
I used to still.
He doesn't play,
anymore,
but
does
he
he?
still is famous footballer.
Yes, so he's still famous and he's still alive. But I used to work at a really snazzy, posh golf club in Newcastle. And he used to come in with his family on Sunday for some golf and some lunch. And his family is beautiful. There's some seriously beautiful genes in that family. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. I love it. George, you've got our favorite
Can
quote.
I give you a scene from the movie instead, or from a book?
Yeah.
My favorite scene from a book. It's not a quote, but it's one of my favorite. There's a book called Our Man in Havana, Graham Greene, and there is an episode there where the guy plays checkers with the ex-world champion in checkers, and they decide how they're gonna level up the game. Because you're playing like the professional, how you level up this game, how you make it fair. So what they do, they line up checkers with the Scotch bottles, the miniature bottles. And once you take a lot of checkers as you play the game. So once you take a checker of your opponent, you drink this bottle, like miniature bottle. So very soon the game levels up. And you can watch it. There is a movie, and there is a scene in the movie. But in the book, I think in the book it's funnier. And I think that's the great way to level things up. You find a weakness that as you win, as you move, and as you start winning, that becomes your weakness. And I think that kind of this balance, a very much reflection of our entire show. As developers start winning, they soon find themselves very lonely. And as non-developers discard the whole notion and start winning on their part, they very soon find themselves lonely without developers, because sometimes you need those. It came up deeper than I meant it to.
Exactly.
I was going to say
it's
as
a
well,
funny
I thought
scene.
you were actually going to get a quick fire answer out of George for the first time ever, but you still failed.
Things. It's like I don't have favorite things. I have things that I like, but not favorite things. So I can't pick up.
You're my favorite short storyteller.
Short storyteller. Okay, my favorite quote. Harry Potter movie. Ollivander store. And if you remember,
Wingardium Leviosa,
when pick up in the wand and Harry destroys half of the store with wand, and Ollivander says like, nope, definitely not. That's me like picking up technology for customers. You try it and you destroy half the customer, and you're like,
I can't believe you remembered a quote like that. I was like, it's the one. What is it? It's the one that chooses the wizard, not the other way around, or something.
Yeah,
that's what I thought you were going to go to. But
definitely not.
I love it. Well, thank you both for coming on. It's been fun, and of course, if you're listening to this, go check out 365 Training. Look for that playlist, Citizens Can, and get yourself some information with your entertainment. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as NZ365 Guy. If there's a guest you'd like to see on the show, please message me on LinkedIn and let me know who I should be talking to. If you like the show and you want to be a supporter of the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Thanks again, and see you next time.